All right, joining me at this very moment is the Abia PDP Vice Chairman and Acting State Publicity Secretary, Chief Amah Abraham. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
It's good to have you join us. Let's get into the swing of things, if you do not mind. From the press statement accredited to you, it's indicative of your dismay at the governor-elect's inspection of the Port Harcourt road. So let's start with that very question. Why? And is it wrong?
Well, first and foremost, let me put a few things right. That press statement is the position of the State Working Committee of the PDP and PDP in extension. So it is a position of the People's Democratic Party in Abia State. That is one. Then two, that statement is made in good faith. It is not intended to antagonize anybody. Three, we are aware that based on public records and as announced by INEC, that a new governor has been elected, who will officially take over from on May 29th. And having said that, the rules of engagement is very, very clear. Now, as I speak to you, there is a transition committee in place, and the responsibility of the transition committee is for those in government in that committee to request all heads of ministries, departments, and agencies to prepare their handover notes and then hand over to the present chief executive, who is still the president, who is still the governor of the state. After that, it now becomes the responsibility of the governor to do a kind of a summary with the assistance of the secretary to the government, which he will hand over to the other committee, which will hand over to a copy of that will be handed over to the committee from the side of the incoming administration. And then based on that, as soon as he takes the oath of office, the first thing he's supposed to do, as far as the law, the status is concerned, is for him to inaugurate the State House of Assembly, because our democracy stands in a tripod: the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. That is the way to go. Now, because it is that document that will make him to understand that certain votes are active votes. And talking about active vote, what is an active vote? An active vote is a road which has been formally awarded by government to a contractor, and the project is ongoing. Like for Port Harcourt Road, for instance, the drainage is completed. Their contract is awarded to Setraco, and then by the time you take over, you ask Setraco why the delay on the contract. Probably Setraco will tell you because of lack of funding. And then, if you can, you fund better than the previous administration. That is the way to go. It is wrong to go to an active project and start doing the kind of thing they were doing the other day. Very wrong. We have 36 states in Nigeria, for God. Ask yourself, are you seeing this kind of thing going on in any other state in Nigeria? The answer is capital no.
Chief Amah Abraham, don't you think that it's the governor-elect trying to understand the situation of things on ground, possibly before he gets into office, just about to be, up to speed with some of these things, and so when he gets into office, it will be more seamless than not, having to start to study the documents and all of that once again?
The problem we have here is that the media has a responsibility for agenda setting. But at times, for some obvious reasons, they shy away from that agenda. The first thing must be first. And the first thing is that a handover note is handed over to you. Before he became a governor-elect, at some point, he worked with various banks. At some point, he transferred his services from one bank to another bank. And I am sure When the other bank engaged him, the second bank engaged him, and then he retired in the last in the bank where he was holding active services. It was not his position to start doing inspection on the branches of the new bank when he has not formally received a handover note from the outgoing managing director of the bank he was taking over. That is not the way. We should not put sentiment in this step. That is not the way to do this thing. You don't do it that way. That is not the way to work. I listened to your program when you started this program. You said it's a relay race. And let me tell you, the rule of engagement is relay race is that the second person to pick the baton does not leave his position only to run towards the incoming person with the baton to pick the. It doesn't work that way. You stay at a particular point, wait for him to hand over to you before you continue with the race. That is why government is a continuum. It's a relay race.
Okay, Chief Amah Abraham, I wanted to ask, because on a couple of occasions, the close allies of the governor-elect insinuate that there is lack of cooperation between the current administration of Dr. Okezekpaz and that of the incoming governor, Dr. Alex Otti. Is it something you are, in tune with? Is it something you have a good knowledge on? Is it true? Then what's the state of things since the inauguration of both transition committees? Has things been going to plan to... Can you allow me to finish, sir?
Okay.
Great. So, has things been going to plan to allow things, work in tune, and then when it's time, everything will just go seamlessly? Is it something you have a good knowledge on?
Well, one, the position is that as soon as the Dr. Otti was elected or was announced a winner by INEC, without hesitation, the incumbent governor extended an olive branch to him. He congratulated him. That was the first step. And that step was not reciprocated. It was not reciprocated because it was expected. Because it was expected that immediately after that olive branch was extended by Governor Ikpeazu, what Dr. Otti was supposed to do was to schedule a visit and meet him in his office and then discuss with him. We have seen Bola Ahmed Tinubu do that. We have seen several governors in Nigeria. We have seen several of them. Several of them have done that, and a few are still doing that. That is the way it goes. And concerning the transition committee, I have told you earlier that it is in twofold. It is in twofold. At the moment, the job is with the principal actors of the current government, commissioners, heads of departments, heads of agencies. These personalities have a responsibility to prepare their handover notes. They don't need any assistance in doing so from the transition committee members coming from the labor side. They don't need any assistance from them to do so. As soon as they conclude the assignment, they will hand over a copy of whatever they have done to the other side, to the other half of the committee. And then the other half of the committee will review what has been submitted to them and, if possible, seek for certain clarifications in some areas. And then these clarifications which they are looking for might lead the personalities in the heading the ministries, departments, and agencies in the current government to generate new documentations to clear those areas. Then they will pass that on to their boss. The governor himself will hand over his own main copy only after the other person has been formally sworn in and hand over. That is the way government is. So when people begin to say that they are not getting the cooperation, what cooperation exactly are they talking about at
Okay,
this time?
Chief Abraham, without having to make it seem like an innuendo, talking about the olive branch, can you put it in black and white? Did the governor of the state, Dr. Okezi Bazu, invite formally Dr. Alex Otti to, for perhaps a sit-down talk and all of that? Did he do that in clear terms other than making it seem like an innuendo? Did the governor do that, sir?
No, you see, I don't. You are supposed to be impartial.
I am. That's why I'm putting it that way, because you said it's an olive branch.
Impartial. You
I
are
am
supposed to be impartial.
I am.
I have stated my part. I said when in communication is a two-way thing. When you talk to me, I talk to you. That is the way it goes. When I talk to you, you are dumb. You are not saying anything. You are not responding. They say human beings respond to stimuli. And if you ask me a question, I don't respond to you, I don't think you may even have the guts to ask a second question. Somebody have extended a congratulatory message. Somebody have extended an olive branch to an incoming governor. And that governor is yet to extend anything to the other person. To extend anything to the other person. So do you want the governor to kneel down and do what? You understand? He's not indebted to him. The governor is only indebted to the people of Abia State who have engaged him.
So you're simply saying that the governor-elect is yet to accept the olive branch as to cross over to the other side where he can possibly sit down with the governor of the state. Is that what you're saying?
What I am saying, in addition to what you have just said, having received the olive branch, it is incumbent on him to also extend goodwill message to the governor.
Okay.
Immediately. And that will build a bridge which will enable them to continue to expand on the scope of whatever discussions that the governor has generated through the extension of his olive branch.
Okay. Still staying with issues in relation to the state, I would love to ask you if, because there's been this issue of the frozen state government account, where it seemed as though from the body language of the government of the day that Dr. Alex Otti, the governor-elect, is behind that very issue. Is it true? Are there evidences to prove that he really made that move?
I will leave that aspect to the Commissioner for Finance and the Commissioner for Justice to speak on. I will leave that aspect. And if you notice, the party has not made any single statement on that, because we know that we have competent people who should be able to handle it. I have not seen I have not seen the Ganishi order. I have not gone through the Ganishi order. I have not seen the content of the Ganishi order. I don't know those who are responsible. That falls within the office of the Attorney General of the state and the Honorable Commissioner for Finance.
Okay, let me sincerely appreciate you, Chief Abraham Amah. He's the PDP Vice Chairman and Acting State Publicity Secretary. Thank you very much for speaking to us on the platform this morning on the position of the government, especially in relation to the issue on the front burner.
Thank you.